Hi everyone. I don't remember how to do this. So welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute. More like close to 9 months. So obviously I haven't been on YouTube since February was my last video, and there was a good reason. It's because I found out I was pregnant around that time. I found out I was pregnant actually in January, early January. It was probably like early beginning of January. So I was already pregnant by the time I was filming all the videos and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was pregnant. So that's actually what this video is going to be about. And sorry guys, I'm just like not good at this like anymore. I don't know if I was good at it before, but now I'm just like, I don't really know what I'm doing like at all. But yeah, so welcome back to my channel. My name is Pamela Zavala. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. But so what this video is gonna be really revolving around was my pregnancy and like why I didn't continue making videos, and what happened in my pregnancy and all that stuff. So this is just like the video about talking about it. So like I said, I found out I was pregnant early in January. It was probably like the first week or two in January. Juan and I actually found out we were pregnant. Juan is my boyfriend, if you're not familiar with who he is, or follow me on social media. But Juan and I found out we were pregnant really early, like 1 or 2 weeks I was pregnant. I've always been like a really sensitive person when it comes to my body. I always know when something's wrong, and something was not right. Let me tell you. I was a bartender and a waitress, and in a restaurant in my hometown. And I wasn't feeling good around that time. Like the flu was going around, and I was just like, dude, something, like I feel super sick. I have the flu. I was throwing up, you know, like a whole bunch of shit. And I was like, the flu, everyone got over their sickness, and mine continued. And I was like, what's going on? And I couldn't like pinpoint what was like exactly wrong, but like I just did not feel good. And Juan and I, we had been together for not very long, and I'm not saying it was a bad thing, you know, we cared about each other a lot, and I love him, but we were only together since August, and I found out I was pregnant in January. So it was really, you know, close time period. But I was telling him, you know what, I'm just gonna take a pregnancy test. I'm sure it's nothing, you know, like it's nothing. Because I always, like I said, I was always like, at least before I was pregnant, I would throw up at least 2 times a week just because I was so sensitive. I'm like allergic to everything. I'm just really sensitive. And I was like, I'm just gonna take a pregnancy test and see what it is. I'm sure it's nothing, like I said. So I come home and I take the pregnancy test like immediately. And the first test I took, nothing showed up, like nothing showed up. And I was like, fuck, I just wasted money on a pregnancy test that didn't work. And then I take another test, and oh my gosh, dude, like I took it, and I seriously was convinced that I was like, no, it's nothing, you know. And I took it, and the 2 little lines showed up, and I shit my pants like immediately. Like I started crying. It's not even the fact that I was like scared, it's just the fact that, you know, like I was just like, it was so unexpected. I was just like, shit, you know, I'm like, it didn't really register for like a good while. I was like crying obviously, and then I was like, fuck, I'm pregnant. Like I have a creature, a little human forming inside of me. So I like texted Juan, I like took a picture of it and I sent it to Juan, and I was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, it's okay, babe, like we'll figure it out. And I texted my girlfriends. You hear my little one crying in the back. I'm just gonna check on him really quick. So I texted him and the picture, and I was like, what are we gonna do? He's like, we'll figure it out. And then I texted my girlfriends the picture, and I like sent it to them, and I was like, guys, I'm pregnant. And they were like, fuck you, Pam, like, you're dumb, like, no, you're not. And I was like, no, like, I'm pregnant. And I was like freaking out. And Kyla wasn't replying, and I was like, what the fuck, bitch, like, you're my best friend, you need to be like, you're the first one replying to me. And she was at work. She moved to Pueblo, and I'm in Fort Lupton, so obviously it was like, you know, an hour and a half drive away from each other, because, you know, which was super hard because I didn't like being away from her, because we spent like every waking minute with each other. And she was at work, and I called her legit like 100 times, texted her like 50, and you know, it was just like a really big panic. But I hadn't told my family for like a week and a half, just because, you know, we hadn't been together very long, and I wanted to keep my options opened. Even though, like, I said I'd never would have an abortion or anything like that, but I didn't know what to do. You know, it's good when you have the option, just because, you know, you're not sure. And I believe women, you know, are allowed to have the option. And I didn't tell him because I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. Juan and I had talked, and I was just like, I can't, like, have this baby, you know, like, I didn't, in the back, that's what I was saying, just because I wasn't sure, but in the back of my mind and in my heart, I knew I would never go through with it. Like, I never could do that. I couldn't, not saying, you know, like I said, your body, your choice, do whatever you want. I'm not one to judge, whatever. And I was just like, I can't do it. So we came to terms that we were gonna have an abortion. We were looking up prices and stuff like that. And I don't want people like being all judgmental, because I feel like I said, it's your body, your choice. Who cares? You know, like, it's what it was, you know? And we weren't sure. And so if you guys can hear that, it's further, like, obviously in the story, but like, it's his oxygen tank, it like fills it up. But if it's kind of loud, I'm sorry. But I hadn't told my family, and I just, you know, like, just because I didn't know what I was gonna do at that time. And I am very, very frugal when it comes to like my finances. I was always a very good saver. I still am, but currently I'm not working because I am at home with my baby. But I always was very good financially. You know, I was saving at that time. Before obviously I got pregnant, I was traveling a lot, and so that's why it hit me so hard. Was just like, I have to take a break. And at that time, for some reason, all my bills came at one time, and I had to pull, and like, for some reason something happened with my phone. They charged like $500 to my account, and they took it out, and I was just like, plus all my other bills and rent and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm fucking broke. And that's why I was so stressed out, because, you know, we were talking about getting an abortion. I didn't have money. It's like $500, and Juan and I were gonna go half and half. We were talking about it. So I come home one day. I had a really hard day at work, and then I come home, and my sister, my little sister, and then my older sister and my mom were all sitting at the table, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I was just talking, and you know, like, I was just like, I'm so stressed out. Like, I have no money. Just like, life is just hard for me. And my mom was just like, she looked at me and she was like, baby, at least you don't have kids. And I fucking broke down. Like, I started crying. And they're like, what? My mom was like, what's wrong, Pamela? And then my older sister, she like looked at me and she like knew like what was up. And I looked at them and I was like, I'm pregnant. and everyone got quiet, and I like kept crying. I just didn't know what to do. And my mom was like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. And my mom was like, you have a family that supports you, which I'm so grateful for, because my family does support me a lot. And my mom was just like, you know, you have a family that supports you, and if, you know, whatever happens, if you and Juan don't, you know, decide not to stay together or whatever, because we were still fresh in our relationship, you know, it was such a big thing. And obviously Juan is such an amazing guy, like, he's amazing, and I wouldn't question the fact that he wouldn't stay. And but just if, you know what I mean. And my mom was like, I really just don't want, I wouldn't want you to get an abortion. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I can tell my mom was super hurt because I was even considering an abortion. But like I said, that's what I was saying, but in my heart I knew I could never go through with it. So, you know, Juan and I had talked over time, and every time we would talk about it, when I talked about getting an abortion, I would be hysterical. Like, I was so hurt in my heart. Like, just talking about it, I was so sad. Like, I would cry. And then when I was just like, you know what, I think I want to keep the baby, like, an instant relief. Like, something was lifted off my shoulders. Like, I just was so happy with the idea. But then I kept going back and forth, and then I was like, why am I even going back and forth? Because just when I am talking about getting an abortion, I am so fucking depressed. Like, I'm so sad about it. And then when I talk about keeping him, I would imagine like how he would look, and like, you know, if he was gonna be like me or his dad. And me and his dad are so different. Like, it's insane. Like, I'm sorry guys, I'm rocking him. But we're so different from each other. He's very he's not, I wouldn't say shy, but he's shy and quiet, more serious. And me, I'm fucking out there. I'm a people person. You know, sometimes it's hard to get me to shut up, but so we're very different. So I would just think about my baby and like how little he would be and stuff like that. So oh honey, you need that. Eee, stinky. And so we just decided, we were at his house with his roommates, and we told his roommates in a funny way. We were just like, because at that time, like, it was not accurate because we like looked it up wrong, but our baby was apparently, at this time, it was like the size of a poppy seed, but we looked it up and it said a blueberry for some reason. So we broke it to his roommates, who are also like my best friends. They've been my best friends for years, since I was little. And we were sitting at the table, and we were so nervous, and we were like, hey Juan, like, no, I was like, because he got M&Ms, brought them to the table, and we were eating them, and I was just like trying to like play it cool. And I was like, you know, it's so crazy, M&Ms are so small. I was like, babies are this size. And everyone's like, okay, Pam, you're fucking weird. Who cares, like, whatever. And I was like, I looked at Juan and I was like, do you think our baby is this size? And they were like, it took them a second to register. And they were like, what? And we're like, I started crying, because when I get nervous, I'm a crier. When I'm too happy, I cry. When I'm sad, I cry. When I'm nervous, I cry, and all that stuff. And I started crying. And I was like, we're pregnant. And they were like, oh, fuck. And they're like, wow. Like, they didn't know what to do either, because, you know, it's like my other best friend, Christian, the one that I've been like close, like friends with him the longest, he has a baby, he's a daddy. And so for this to, you know, be the next one, he was just like, oh gosh, like, that's exciting, but that's also nerve-wracking because he's been through it. And the other boys literally just didn't, Dante and Stuart, they just literally did not know what to do. They were just like, oh god. And because it is a nerve-wracking situation. And so they're like, what are you gonna do? And we're like, we don't know yet, we're not sure, but we just wanted to tell you guys, just in case, you know, whatever decision we come to, we want you to support us. And they're like, well, of course we love you guys, like why wouldn't we support you? And so we were hanging out for a little bit, just talking about it, and then we call it a night. Juan and I go downstairs to his room, and we're talking about it, and then we finally come to the conclusion that we're having the baby, like we're keeping him, and like we're keeping the baby, we're keeping him, and you know, after that I fucking told the world, man, like not the world, I didn't announce it on social media until like a long time after, but I told everyone at work, because obviously I had to tell my boss and word gets around. I told the rest of my friends, I told you know, my family and stuff like that, and they were really supportive. And then I had that's the reason why I knew something was wrong, because I had hardcore morning sickness, like the entire fucking pregnancy. Literally from before I found out to the day I had him, I had morning sickness. And it came to the point where it became a big problem because I was losing too much weight, and they told me that with the amount of weight I was losing, because I was throwing up like literally like 12 or more times a day. And I was already, everyone who knows me, like I was already tiny, like I'm obviously at mommy weight right now, but like, but they told me that it was really unhealthy. And at that point, you know, it was still early on in the pregnancy, but I had spotting, bleeding like quite a bit, and I was like freaking out. I thought I was having a miscarriage, and it was more than one time, and it was like gradually getting worse, and I fucking started freaking out. I was like, I'm having a miscarriage, something's wrong with my baby. And I went to the emergency room like 9 times in the beginning of my pregnancy, like probably within the 3 months I went like legit like 10 times to the emergency room because of the spotting. And I got diagnosed with placenta previa, so that means that the placenta is not on the top or the sides. Mine was at the bottom. So every time, and I was a bartender, so every time I would get ice or I would lift a tray or something like that, like it would cause pressure and it would push the baby and like everything down and make me bleed. So it was really dangerous at that point, and so it just kept getting worse, like I said. And the amount of weight I was losing, my body was like rejecting this baby, and I was like, this isn't good, this is really bad, like what do I need to do to make this stop? And my doctor was like, you need to take care of yourself, you need to be at home, you need to rest or not work as much. If you have an office job, you know, sit down as much as possible, don't overwork yourself, because that's what happens, you'll bleed more, and then who knows, you know, at this point, if it's before 23 weeks, there's nothing that we can do. If you have a miscarriage, you have a miscarriage. So I obviously was like, fuck that, dude, like that's not happening, like I need to take care of my child. So I put in my 2-week notice at work. I had to, it was hard because I had been there for over 2 years. I loved all my coworkers and all that stuff, and it was close to home. Oh, I'm sorry, honey, my hair's in his face. And so it was just easy, and obviously, you know, it gave me the funds to travel. And so I quit my job and I stayed home, and it just kept getting worse and worse, guys. Let me tell you, it kept getting worse. So at this point, when I first found out I was pregnant, I weighed at 122 pounds. And by the time that they were talking to me, I was like 112 pounds that I had lost just within like the first few months. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're pregnant, you're supposed to be gaining weight, you know, even if it is just like a pound or 2 pounds a week. And so they told me if I've ever considered, because I've heard about Zofran and I didn't want to take it because it causes like cleft lip, cleft palate, and that just seemed hard, you know, like a hard thing. And I was just like, you know what, I'm not gonna get it. But they were just like, at that point, like, you need to pretty much, because if you keep doing what you're doing, it's gonna cause really bad stress on the baby. And I was like, okay, fine. So I took it, and it helped me a lot. Like I was gaining weight, I was, you know, healthy and all that good stuff. So after I got cleared from my placenta previa, and you know, my morning sickness it was contained, it wasn't as bad. I was gaining a little bit of weight. I had a good, you know, like a month before I started getting bad again. we found out the gender on April 30th of this year, 2018. And we didn't know. We went with my friends and we didn't have like a gender reveal just because like, I don't know, like we didn't want to make it like a huge thing just because like, you know, we're happy, but whatever. Anyways, we went to the doctor and they gave my friends the picture and they gave us like a little gender reveal and just like a few friends. And they told us that we were having a little boy, and because we were so convinced it was gonna be a little girl, like legit. I was having dreams, Juan was having dreams, and my best friend Kyle was having dreams of little girls, but they say that what you dream you have the opposite of. And I was just like in denial because I was like starting to get really excited about having a little girl. Whatever, but like obviously we were super happy about having a little boy. And we obviously found out it was a boy. And then for a good solid like month and a half, it was really good. Like I was having a good time. I was, you know, able to do stuff. And then so from May to like June it was decent, so 2 months. And in July, that's when I was 7 months, I started getting really bad edema. Like so edema is like swelling, like water retention, all that stuff. And I started getting it really bad, like really fucking bad. Like guys, like it was bad. Up until I was like 6 months pregnant, I hadn't gained a lot of weight. I was still pretty skinny. And when 7 months hit, I was gaining so much weight. Like I literally was gaining like 10 pounds a week because of the water retention. Like I was lifting my feet, I was icing, I was taking cold baths. I literally would sleep in chair, like cause Juan and I lived together. I would sit in his game chair cause we have a little like kind of living room in our room. I would sit in his gaming chair where he would play his like games. And we also have a couch in our room, and I would sit in the gaming chair and put stack pillows on the couch and put my feet on there just because how I would try to get rid of it. I literally would try to get rid of it. And it wasn't, I literally, like I said, I was gaining like 10 pounds a week, which was horrible. And so I even tried like not eating super horrible and all that stuff, and not eating salt and fucking everything. And it started getting bad because after the month was over, I was, like I said, the weight gain was really bad. And then August hit, we had our baby shower, really cute, all that stuff. And then I started feeling I was literally not capable of doing anything because like my body would swell so bad. Like I would have swelling on my neck. My face was fucking huge. Like my nose was like 10 times the size it was. My skin was so tight that when you would push it would make a big asshole. Like it literally would turn white and it would stay white. You know, it was just really bad. And then I didn't have stretch marks until I was, I think, like in August. So that was crazy because I started getting them all at once, like all at one time, like, and they were horrible. Like my body is fucked up, guys. So that was happening, and my doctor was monitoring me. She was telling me, she was like, you need to take care of yourself. And I was walking on the treadmill and everything, dude, because we have like a little exercising room in my house. And yeah, it was just like getting to the point where I was literally incapable of doing anything. And because I was so swollen, it's so horrible because I couldn't even bend down. Like my knees bending, I would be in excruciating pain because my skin would be fucking ripping practically. And my doctors were really concerned. When September came around, I was getting signs of preeclampsia, which is so bad in pregnancy. Only a few women get it. And it's like really high blood pressure, which is really bad for the baby. And so I was preeclamptic. They were monitoring me because the baby's heartbeat. Pretty much, if you don't get induced and the baby continues to grow, the baby could potentially die, and you could also die. My aunt, she was preeclamptic. They induced her, and she is partially blind now because of it. So that fucking was terrifying, knowing someone who had it, so it was close to home. And so yeah, and the thing is, once they find out you're preeclamptic, they're supposed to induce you like right away. And I was already full fucking term practically, and they did not induce me, which was horrible. So that wasn't good. And also I had this thing called PP something. I'll have to, whatever, I'll let you guys know in the description or something, but because I forgot the thing is, but it causes like little bumps on your skin, stomach, like your feet. It causes it to itch really bad, like to where it's like uncontrollable itching. I had to get medicated for that. So everything that could go wrong in a pregnancy was happening to me. My body was literally just rejecting my child, which was so sad because I really didn't even get to enjoy my pregnancy. I only got like a good month and a half before things started getting all bad again. But they're supposed to induce you when they find out you're preeclamptic. They had been monitoring me for 2 weeks before I had my son, and for preeclampsia, because his heart rate would drop. I wasn't feeling him move as much as he was supposed to, and I understand like by the end of the last trimester they don't move as much because they're getting so big, but he was a really active baby usually, like at all times pretty much, and I wasn't feeling him move as much, so that's why I kept going to the doctor, and I went in almost every day for a week. The week before I had him, I went every day, and then the week before that I went in like 3-4 times to the emergency room, and they didn't want to keep me because they said that my blood pressure needed to be over 140, and I was at 138 and 136, so they said they couldn't keep me, which was a horrible fucking mistake because there's obvious reasons. I won't say it in this video, I'll say it in the next video, but I'll do the whole labor and delivery process, and I'll show videos and clips and stuff like that from my delivery. But it was all really not a good thing, because by the time that I went in for a normal checkup on a Friday, the 14th of September, and for monitoring, because my doctor was concerned because the baby, his movement wasn't consistent and his heart rate wasn't, it wouldn't go up, it wouldn't fluctuate as much as it needed to be, so it kept going low, and they were just like, we just need to make sure that everything's okay. So they sent me to the hospital, which is the next town over from where I live, and from there it was just a fucking shit show, let me just say that. Like, it was horrible. The whole labor and delivery, it literally was so tough, like so hard, but like I said, I'll say that in a different video if you guys want to go ahead and make sure that you're keeping up with the updates for that video. But yeah, so I was preeclamptic. They didn't induce me until I was like 38 weeks and like 5 days, so which would, like I said, they found out I was preeclamptic like 2 weeks before that. Did not induce me, so certain situations happened with my son and that caused it to be a really big issue, and things just were really tough. But overall, that was my pregnancy. Dude, it was chaotic. Like, I wish I could go in detail, like more detail, like to how horrible it was. Like, I don't mean to say that because I obviously wanted, I enjoyed my pregnancy with the fact that I got to feel him move, and I got to feel him move and all that good stuff, but it was really tough, like really hard. And like I said, I was always a sensitive person, and for my body to be rejecting the pregnancy, it like broke my heart. Really, it really did. But it was all very worth it because I have my son right here. He's like, Mom, quit, stop. But and you can see his little hair. He has a lot of hair. But yeah, I'll go ahead and make another video for you guys. If you guys want to keep, updated on like when the video comes out and when this video comes out, just make sure to subscribe to my channel, like my video, share that shit. Yeah, but that was my pregnancy. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and you guys continue to watch more. I'll try really hard, just because I am a new mom now. Having a newborn baby is pretty tough, especially under our condition, or his condition now. So we're trying, but I really hope you guys will keep watching. All right, peace out, guys.